Dear Excellencies, distinguished guests distinguished ladies and gentlemen from Facebook and YouTube. This is Rudranarayan Das. It's a true pleasure for me to welcome you all to this World Human Sciences and Management Conference 2021, organized by Center for ADIVASI Research and Development, Odisha, in association with Indian Institute of Management, Sambalpur, and Central University of Odisha, Koraput. The broader theme of this conference is AGNOTOLOGICAL context, disciplinary practices of social sciences, and policy frames. On behalf of Center for ADIVASI Research and Development, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Professor Mahadev Joyswal, Director, Indian Institute of Management, and late Professor I. Ramabrahmam, former Vice Chancellor, Central University of Odisha, and Professor Sharad Kumar Palita, Dean Biodiversity and Acting Vice Chancellor, Central University of Odisha. The convener of this August conference are eminent historian, Professor Chandi Prasad Nanda, and eminent policy activist, writer, and philanthropist, Mr. Charudat Panigrahiji. Friends, this evening we have with us Mrs. Niketa Dedhia, founder and principal consultant at the Exponent Consultancy Service, United States. Exponent Consultancy Service ECS is a premier consulting service that brings together the universities from Germany and Europe and students and researchers from India for mutual growth. The growth of the university is manifested in terms of its outreach to Indian subcontinent, to harness bright and educated talent to further their own diversity and global culture. The growth of the students is envisaged in terms of prospects of new learning and training avenues, with an open outlook to worldwide opportunity for their career. ECS was founded by Mrs. Niketa Dedhia in 2011, and when she decided to take a leave from her key role as a head of the Western Indian region for DAAD, Mrs. Dedhia worked in this role for 10 years and developed key contacts with the university decision makers in India and their counterparts in Germany. In her current role as a principal consultant of ECS, Mrs. Dedhia has worked with numerous students and faculty members from India and successfully placed them in German universities, where they have thrived both academically and professionally. Based on her success, each year Mrs. Dedhia get invited to more about 75 plus universities in Pan-India to guide their students and faculty, to create awareness for higher education and research opportunities for their students in Germany and Europe. Mrs. Dedhia has personally counseled more than 31,000 students so far in her 19 years of journey in this field. Mrs. Dedhia was recently conferred upon the Leadership Award by Cogen USA to recognize her work in the field of research and higher education for Germany, in addition to the many international recognition and awards that we bestowed upon her. Thank you, Mrs. Dedhia, for joining us in this intellectual gathering. And Mrs. Niketa Dedhia is today will be talking about path of international success through quality and affordable higher education and research in Germany and Europe. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Professor Rudranarayan Das, for the wonderful introduction, and also the director card, Professor Bikram Yena, who has been a catalyst for bringing me to this wonderful gathering and to this bringing this webinar to you. So a big round of applause for both of them, that, people living in different time zones, but brought together on one platform. So it's really wonderful. And a little bit of brief, when Professor Dash mentions about DAD, what exactly was DAD? So I was head of the German higher education agency called DAD. It's the Deutscher Akademischer Austauschdienst, and it's one of the biggest funding organization worldwide. So DAD has an office in probably more than 178 countries of the world. And it's a German government organization. So under that auspices, I was connecting to various IITs and IIMs, having a hotline with the directors for various funding and research organization. And I've also catalyzed a lot of funding in social sciences, not just in engineering, but social sciences, economics, and such. If you know TISS in Mumbai, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, so probably about 9 million euros were catalyzed for a particular topic, and IITs, that have been, IIT Madras has been funded by German money, IIT Mumbai by Russian money, and so on. So it has been a very close collaboration with the top tier organizations in India. Apart from that, I was also catalyst in bringing various German and European delegations. And this is all before COVID, because with COVID, things have changed. I have, with the work that I've done, I've also been selected as the intercultural personality for Goethe International. Goethe is the cultural language and the cultural representation, the German language and German cultural representation in India. I used to go live on Switzerland radio called Radio Laura. And also been an Indian ambassador to the Netherlands for a year. And honorary director for a very small rural organization. It's not, the organization is big, but it's in a small village in the deserts of Kutch. So it's interesting with the kind of expertise that I bring in. We are talking about future paths for debt-free higher education across levels of master's, PhD, and postdoctorate studies. But before we jump into any of these topics, it's very imperative to know, I believe that education or any kind of academic progress or research progress goes hand in hand with the industry or with whatever happens in the economy. This is very vital. We cannot overlook that part. And with the thing that has happened with COVID, a vast majority of jobs have been wiped out, whether we want to believe it or accept it or not. And that brings us to a step where, for students, many times jobs will be available, but the relevant job is always not available. And that's not a very great thing for a researcher or a student, because he or she has put in very important years of your life. And then when you're not able to do that. So this is a little bit dampening, but here we are gathered together to talk about progress. So what is the progress? What is the step out of it? The step out of it is from wherever we are. It's great to expand our horizons. And I like to introduce my very favorite animal, the sharkfish. I love the sharkfish because she has a ginormous structure, 30 feet tall and so on. But did you know that if a sharkfish is kept in a little fish pot, she would only grow to about 6 inches or 8 inches and not the 35 feet long that we always see. Why is that? That's also the ambience that sharkfish gets. So if she's given the right boost to expand, she grows. And so will we. If we come out of our comfort zones and if we allow ourselves to expand to our fullest potential, we will grow, and the sky is the limit. And that's one of the reasons that people try not just students, but researchers always want to bag an want to crack an international master's, PhD, or postdoc. Some of the reasons are to globalize oneself, to strengthen leadership skills, which is very vital, gain valuable life skills too. The world is one village. How else are we going to understand with the diminishing boundaries, how to connect to counterparts from various parts of the world? Finding a new career path. So what exactly is a career path? You've invested so many years to come till here, and now finding new here means attuning oneself to the demands of the new age business, whether it's in academics, research, or industry. So whatever that be, attuning oneself to that and not working on a dinosaur age problem, but new age problems to find new solutions to them. And networking, just like we are doing today, we are in 2 different time zones, but we are networking on a common platform. And that's really good and very helpful for the students. What does the study abroad statistics look like? Well, there are more than 4 lakh, or probably this year it's going to be crossing 5 lakh students and researchers going abroad. And that's just a 1-year figure. So whether you decide to go or not, but there are already so many people going abroad. And there is a time when people used to think it's only America. But did you know that America is super, super expensive, and it costs about 100 to 150,000 US dollars for anybody to study there? That's really high. The reason, because even after paying so much, are you going to get that kind of a relevant job, paying that kind of an amount for your salary? Question mark. The economy doesn't really permit that. So as a smart person, what would be your solution? You would try to find quality options, but at the same time that are lower in cost. And that's the reason I've been invited today, because Germany is topping the world charts for research, higher education. And that's the reason researchers and students are wanting to go abroad. Now, let us understand in detail what are the reasons to consider Germany. The first and foremost is the affordable education. What exactly is affordable education? So to elaborate a little bit more, of all the universities that exist in Germany, about 85% of the universities are public universities, and the education is funded by the state and the central government of Germany, which means they are free to affordable tuition fees, number one. Number two, the private universities that exist in Germany, although they are private, but the amount of fees that they charge is still pretty nominal as compared to any foreign university at a comparable Western university. So that's a very big advantage. The second biggest advantage is the variety of courses to choose from. In today's world, we all love variety, right? We love variety in our clothes. We love variety in the food that we eat. There's variety everywhere. Why not in research and education? So Germany is one such country in the world that brings so much variety to the research programs, to the higher education programs. In your field of interest, there can be a huge variety to choose from, even at the higher level of master's, PhD, and postdoc. And that is the reason so many researchers from world over are coming to Germany. The third important factor, although it is free to affordable education, but the institutions are really world-class. It's the faculty is very competent. And even to teach at an academic institution, the faculty would have had at least 7 to 8 years of industry experience. Why is that so important? That's very vital because they are bringing in real life solutions and not old age solutions. So real life solutions to the existing problems. And that brings you on the threshold of being competitive at all levels. There's great international exposure for students and networking with world markets. It's very vital because a little before COVID, you would have seen your peers or a lot of people traveling to attend conferences and such. Why do people attend conferences? It's all about networking, connecting to people from all walks of life. Here, being at a German educational institution or a research institution gives you an opportunity to connect with people from world over, because people from world over are actually coming to Germany. Germany is like a breeding ground for networking, and that's really, really beautiful. English is the medium of instruction against against all myths, because people would say, Germany जाने के लिए आपको German आना जरूरी है. You need to know the language, but that's for day-to-day use. When you're buying food or buying grocery and things like that. But in the day-to-day in the institution, the medium of instruction is English. Other than, of course, if you're going for German literature or something like that. But English is the medium of instruction, and that's also your international mother tongue when you step out of the country. So when you blend all of these things together, it's an experience of a lifetime. And that makes it very attractive. The second, so we looked at about 4 or 5 important reasons. The next biggest pillar to consider Germany is that Germany is a vital part of Europe. And when you're going to Germany, you just do not get a German visa, but you also get something called as a Schengen visa. So where else would you get when you're applying for one country, but you're getting visa for 28 countries, only for Germany? So that's really exciting and very vital. The next most important reason to consider Germany is it's a breeding ground for invention and innovation. The dream of any researcher, any student, is to bring about inventions that become household names. To give you an example, it's very early morning here for me. I've woken up this morning, I've brushed my teeth. The toothpaste that I've used is a German invention. The cars that we see on the road is a German invention. The television is a German invention. So all of these things are touching our daily life in ways much more than we knew about it. And that is the pinnacle of excellence. That excellence, any invention, if it is kept in a museum, it's of no use. But if that invention becomes a household name, household use, that's the success. So this, little did we know that there are more than 100 plus Nobel prizes acclaimed to Germany, and not just in the field of engineering, but also in literature, economics, and so on. The very important factor apart from all of this is that Germany is still an industrial giant. There are so many jobs that are available. And this is just a glimpse of the many German companies that are hiring international students and international researchers under their wings. Some of the companies, here, the little dot that you see, it's actually a comma, but I've kept it as a dot because that's how we write it in German. Whatever field you come from, each company, whatever product they make, they will still need a social scientist, they'll still need an economist, they'll still need a machinist, they'll still need an IT guy. So your field is put to great use, irrespective of what that company is in core, what is the core field of that. So that's really good that there are jobs that are available. And now that we've got so interested to go to Germany, let us understand some more facts and figures about studying and doing research in Germany. I've been an Indian ambassador to the Netherlands, and when I was in the Netherlands, I saw that there were just 7 universities in the Netherlands. That gave me a shock and a surprise. In India, just one state will have more number of universities. But in Western countries, the number of universities drastically reduces. So in that comparison, Germany has about 427 institutions of higher learning, And that's a very big number. So 427 institutions, more than 2,000 courses to choose from. That's a big number. And a very important fact is that there is a huge amount available for funding. I've been told that the audience is going to be really smart and bright if somebody can tell me the equivalent of 100 billion euros. Put that up in chat. Let's see how smart you are. Why am I stressing on this? The reason is this is the kind of funding that institutions in Germany are getting for research and development, and there is much more money coming in from different pockets. This is very imperative to understand that by default, education, research, and development is boosted and kept in the highest order. And that's the reason so many German institutions are topping the world charts. What does the German university system look like? It's a little bit complicated, and that's the reason I'm here to simplify that. There are 3 different kinds of universities to choose from, but 2 mainly affect us or you as international students. So I'm here to bring about an understanding about it. The first are the traditional universities. What are the traditional universities? These are 100 plus in number. They focus on very theoretical knowledge. Of course, there is international recognition of these degrees, which means that you can study at this university and your degree is recognized worldwide, including India, America, Japan, anywhere in the world. But the very fact that this is focused on theoretical knowledge, which means that if you wish to do a PhD or a postdoc, these are the kind of universities that you would attend. The second kind of universities are the institutions of applied sciences. The institution of applied sciences, as the name suggests, focus on practical approach of whatever has been studied in the classroom. This means that probably an internship that can range anywhere from 2 months to 4 months to even 6 or 8 months is possible or is part of the normal curriculum at such a university. Now, the thing here is, so again, these are all internationally recognized degrees, but the thing here is that they are not geared towards PhD and postdoc. They come across, students from all fields can be studying here, social sciences, design, management, and so on, but it's not geared towards a PhD. So the next question that can come up is, what is really good? Traditional university or applied sciences? It really depends on what you wish for yourself to be. And accordingly, you will choose a university. The next and I've promised you all to bring 360-degree information. So I'm bringing in all of this information, which is not easily or which is not even available on the internet. The grading system at German universities, how are you graded? In India, we always think more is better, but not always. So the German grading system goes from 1 to 4. 1 being the best, and then it slides down to 4 being just about ausreichend, managed to scrape through. So this is how the grading system looks like. And answering the next very important question is, how do you select a university? What are the criteria to select a university? So there are various parameters in which university could be selected for your best knowledge. Some of the criteria I'm going to highlight. First is, a lot of universities in Germany provide a great ambience for research excellence, to the extent that they love to highlight that they have 13 Nobel Prizes to their credit. The very fact that a university says, hey, look, we have 13 Nobel Prizes to our credit, it speaks volumes. It speaks about the fact that the university has provided all the necessary attributes for a researcher to succeed and become to get a Nobel Prize. So this is how they speak about their excellence. Another university like Heidelberg would say, hey, we have 56 Nobel laureates that sit on our campus. Yes, the work that these Nobel laureates do, they do not sit in some special dark room where nobody can access them. No, they are sitting on the campus, and there is an easy access for students and researchers to go and meet them. Now imagine if you had such an opportunity to be at this university, you would be you can interact about your project, you can interact about your career with such Nobel laureates and get prestigious guidance from them. And that is possible at a German university. Another university like Humboldt will say, hey, we are very good and we have more than 65 lakh books to our credit. That's a very big number, which means so many thousands of books are added each day to the library. And that means a lot. Another university like RWTH Aachen would say, hey, we have more than 150 programs just in one campus and more than 40,000+ students attending these courses. The advantage here is that you can, whatever your focus of study arena is, you're of course studying that, but you can also hop to other classes to just gain knowledge. And you can have an opportunity to interact with the guest visiting faculty that have come in from world over. So in any country of the world. So if you're studying this has a greater impact, and it teaches you how to go about doing business and scaling up that business, whichever field be it. So whatever interests you, whether it's public policy or developmental economics or global management, there is something specialized to learn from in these fields. And if you're specifically interested in management, so the core management fields are already there. What are the other unique fields that you can study is innovation and business creation. Probably you all have heard of the name Sundar Pichai. Sundar Pichai is an Indian who studied in India, and now he's the CEO not just for Google, but also Alphabet. You know what takes up majority of his time? It is innovation and business creation is what he's doing. So if something like that interests you, there's so much opportunity. Or social responsibility and NGO management. If you're part of an NGO, how to make that work, how to make that function, and how to bring it to scalable heights. That is possible. Resources and environment. Environment is a very, very important topic, and you can be studying that as well. And another very unique management options are healthcare management. With the heightened awareness for health in today's world, you could be studying healthcare management, you can be studying energy management or marketing intelligence, or within healthcare, you can do medical devices and healthcare, or luxury and sales management, or logistics and supply chain. Very vital, logistics and supply chain. Even with the vaccine of corona, there is a bigger challenge, not just to bring the vaccine, not just to invent that vaccine, but to bring it to various parts of the world, like remote countries in Africa and such. So these are really, really big fields with a lot of scope in them. Management and entrepreneurship, you could be studying technology, innovation, marketing and entrepreneurship, or consumer affairs, or developing and emerging markets, or food business. So there are so many options that one can study from. Food is a very important thing to everybody, and you could have seen even small restaurants that have increased so much in any part of India or anywhere in the world as it was 5 years back. So food and consumer studies and such. Engineering management. So you're still studying management, but focusing on engineering. This has gained a lot of importance in the last few years because there are more than 7,500 German engineering companies that have a base in India. And they want to hire people who are willing to be managers overlooking the engineers. So if you would have studied something like engineering management in various aspects like technology and innovation management or project management or biodiversity and collection management or technology management as a pure subject, there is so much growth and potential for growth. Math. Math is a field which is it has not got that much importance as it should have. But not in the Western countries. Math is highly regarded, and there are so many options within just pure math, like mathematical physics. So you can be studying blended fields, something like actuarial and financial mathematics. Actuarial sciences is just 3% tapped in India. There is 97% still untapped market in India. So there's a lot of growth. Quantitative finance, quantitative economics, scientific computing, and so much more is possible. Now, within the fields of computer science, so I'm bringing about each field and giving you the over and above highlights, over and above all the traditional fields within that broader topic that we already know about. So in computer science, there could be information science, digital media, material science. A very unique field is human-computer interaction. In 2023, 2024, there will be a huge boom of all of these fields, which will have human-computer interaction. So if you wish to plunge into that from now on, here is an opportunity at a German university to do that. Physics, astro and particle physics, climate physics, quantum physics, cyber physical systems, you name it, and so many options available, industrial informatics, and so on. Within biology, you can be studying systems biology, metabolomics, or infection biology, which has blossomed into a huge lucrative field, physical biology of cells and cell interaction, and so much more. Psychology. Psychology can be one subject in arts, but little do people know that it has such a huge application network and so many further super specializations within them. For example, you can of course study pure psychology, but you can also study neurocognitive psychology or management blended with psychology or art psychology with the focus on clinical side, or cognitive sciences, neurosciences, very interesting topics. And within English literature, the very nice options on English linguistics or transnational studies or speech and language processing. So there are proper labs and everything that help you study the fields that you're wanting to study. Food technology, home science was considered a field for girls where, if they didn't get admission in anything else, they would be studying home science, but not anymore. Food technology is a booming field and the options are immense, like nutrition health sciences or food business and consumer studies, wine business, and so on and so forth. So it's a huge field. And within engineering, I would like to highlight that, of course, we know of all the other programs, the normal programs in engineering. I'm highlighting the very unique fields like neural engineering or green electronics. When everything is going green, it's also green electronics, or architectural design or space engineering, media informatics. You think of it and there is a subject possible to study. Water engineering, this is very close to my heart because there are so many cities dying out and running out of water. So it's going to be a huge challenge, and there are so many countries wanting to employ water specialists. Start studying now and you could become an exponent into that field. Or railway systems or road traffic engineering. There's so much traffic. I've been to Bhubaneswar in Odisha. I've traveled to Odisha, I think one time, and this traffic. So if you can study road traffic engineering, you are able to solve a global problem, not just an Indian problem, and you would be hired like this. Mining engineering, usability engineering, and so much more to study from. very unique engineering programs, which are not pure engineering, but a blend of different fields like biomedical engineering, hydroscience, nano biophysics. So it's actually pure sciences blended with an element of engineering. Then within electronics, and then these are the various aspects of engineering, and I'm just going to run through them really brief, like very unique programs like nano electronic systems or green electronics and such, power engineering, automotive systems. Within IT, gone are the days when IT was just pure IT, but now you can do media technology or digital technology or blended fields like electrical and IT. In robotics, you can study bionics, which is still not entered India, but which will have a great industry demand, or construction and robotics. Within artificial intelligence, you can do data sciences, there's machine learning, industry 4.0, data sciences, or decision sciences, or program sciences. Automobile engineering, there is mechanical and automotive engineering, robotic systems engineering, civil and structure. I mean, right now there is hurricanes coming in so many parts of the world, and they affect the structure. So if you have the ability, or if you have studied something like natural hazards and risks, you have gained a lot of mileage to be able to handle those problems that exist. Within chemical technology, you are studying microbiology or protein chemistry, or material science and nanosciences can have various options like polymer material sciences and so much more. Biotechnology and pharmacy are not left behind. There are so many options within them, like pharmaceutical biotechnology or international horticulture, biological resources or bioprocess engineering, industrial pharmacy, pharmacoeconomics. So if you come from the economics side, and if you want to plunge into pharmacy, understanding the great growth that pharmacy has, you can study pharmacoeconomics or advanced safety sciences or biomedical sciences, you name it, and there are options available. Renewable energy, you can come from any field and go ahead to study renewable energy. What exactly is renewable energy? You know, sun is in abundance in a country like India, and it is in so much abundance that sometimes we don't even want to go out in the afternoon anywhere. It is in so much abundance. But a smart person might want to harvest renewable energy out of it, and that is possible. And there are so many solar farms or wind farms across the outskirts of many major cities. You could be part of that. And if you would have studied something like photovoltaics or renewable energy management, or renewable energy systems, which focuses on environment and process engineering, or sustainable resource management, you have a better hand, an upper hand in dealing with such aspects. Petroleum and environment, you know, we have some students who have registered with us for wastewater management. Waste is kachra, right? Who studies waste? Nobody. But do you know that this particular field is great business by itself? So studying waste management, there is bio waste, there's medical waste, there's natural waste, and so on. There's so much opportunity within that, or integrated natural resource management. So management also comes in so many shapes and sizes. You could be studying all of that. In textiles, you can study clothing management or merging technologies and such. Architecture is not left far behind. There's architecture and planning. There is landscape architecture. There is integrated technologies. So you think about it, and there are options available in each and every field, including medicine, like medical biometry or life science and technology, an entire PhD program on that, research on heart and lung research at the very prestigious Max Planck institutions, nutrition and biomedicine, and so much more. Now, I have covered various fields, and there are so many more fields, and I've covered just the highlights. Now let us understand what could be the university highlights. Well, we've understood the various programs, but the university highlights means that why should you get, apart from that subject of your interest, what are the other additional things that one can look at? For example, you can be looking at an institution which has the Initiative of Excellence tag, which means it attracts a lot of funding from the government, and that funding is passed on to the researchers who are working in that field, or an institution may have an internship at the United Nations, so you get an opportunity to be at UN and make your interactive database and things like that, or specializing in international management, which means you are overlooking various different small and medium projects, and that's international management. Or you could be specializing in a program into a university which has an excellence initiative again. So various different options. There are many universities which have partnerships with many other institutions like American institutions or Asian institutions, or some universities have promised large funding over the next 5 years, like 65 million euros over the next 5 years by this particular university. Or some have a program that has an outreach in 153 foreign countries. So whatever program you choose, and there's always a highlight that's very vital to look into. And now that we've understood all the various programs in the universities, it's now imperative for us to understand what could be the institutional highlights. For example, what do you need to be there? So basically, the first and foremost thing to understand is the concept of decentralization, which is the opposite of India. India, what we have is centralization. So if a student gets admission in IIT, so IIT is considered top within engineering, and then he would get it into NIT and then triple IT and so on and so forth. Or if it is management, accordingly things are rated. What is decentralization? It means that each and every university has been given the opportunity to formulate its own rules and regulations for its prospective students. And that is the founding base for all universities across all programs. The good thing is that they accept 12+3 from India. So let's say if you come from commerce, arts, social sciences background, you have studied 12+3 and then done your master's. 12+3 is accepted and respected. You do not have to do the mandatory 16th year like in many countries. But yes, if you come from engineering, then you should have done 12+4 because the home country requires that, right? What are the kind of exams that are required? You would have expected that I would say, oh, you need this and this exam. But based on the concept of decentralization, it really depends on the university, what they wish from their prospective students. So I would not want you to go ahead and do all the exams because I'm very student friendly. Your time, energy, and money is very vital. Why do some exam which you find out later on that was not even required? So wait until a particular time to understand what is really required and only do that. Even GRE and GMAT it really depends on the ingredients of the course. So if it's more quantitative in nature, yes, you need to do a GRE and so on and so forth. So it really depends on the program to program within each university and from university to university. What is the living expense? What is the kind of cost that's required? Now, this particular figures are not brought in by me, but brought in by the government, the German government, and this changes each year. But at least I'm trying to give you an overview as to how much would be required for your living there. And comes the very important aspect for visa, because we have seen many instances where students get admissions but do not get a visa, and it's a very sad situation at the university. The professors feel bad for their students, and sometimes even professors' visas are rejected. And we handle a lot of such things. We get so many emails day in, day out. Now, for Germany, if you're not an international threat, we will be happy to announce that we can help you with your visa, and your visa should not be an issue. What are the aspects that's required? Two important things. One is the letter of admission, and the second is a blocked account in your name. So your money for you to use when you're in Germany, so that you're not found on the streets with colored hair and a guitar in hand and a dog. All right, so you get what I'm trying to tell you. So this is about the visa and about part-time work. You are allowed to work 120 or 240 half working days to work in Germany, and that income is tax-free. Tax-free. As a student, or as somebody in education and research, you don't even bother about taxes, but it's very vital, because let's say whatever pay package you get, taxes gets cut and you don't even get half of it at hand, right? In Germany, this income will be tax-free income. And how much can you earn? To give you 360-degree information, I can tell this to you, that when you're studying full-time in Germany, you can earn part-time income about 11 lakhs per annum, which is tax-free. So all the income is for you to utilize. And this is a very good amount. Indians are respected in Germany, and the organization that I was the head for, I was the first Indian to be the head, and now we have Professor Joybroto Mukherjee, who's the head of DAD worldwide. So it's really a prestigious thing. And then it's also important to know that a very important German company called ThyssenKrupp, they make elevators. They are an engineering giant. So the global head is another Indian, Premal Desai. So it's really nice that if you have the talents and the skills, you are respected. What do you do after your education in Germany? You can work in Germany, or you can come back to India and work here. You can be part of an Indo-German startup, or you can find another new way. So there are various options in which you can be employing your education to rightful use and gain. And the way we help our students is as follows. When I used to work for the government, there was a limitation on the amount of information that we can give. This kind of webinar was not possible if I was part of the government, and so much in depth. I've brought in so much information in depth and in great transparency. So this was not possible. So firstly, all of this information I'm able to bring in. Second, when you will have questions after the webinar, we can keep open the question answer session. All of that is fine. But once you've made up your mind to go to Germany, this is the following in which we can help you, because everybody wants to utilize of these great opportunities that Germany has, right? So there is huge competition at the German research institutions or at German universities. So for our students to be really successful, we work in the following. The first is the research questionnaire, the first phase, which means we would want to ask or know from you, what is your aim? What's your medium-term and long-term aim? So we get all kinds of answers like, I want to be a trillionaire, or me and my wife want to go there, or something like that. And we respect everything. So whatever is your aim and goal, or somebody might say, I want an international internship, or whatever that is. We ask a lot of questions to get an understanding about your education and career goal. So based on this understanding, what we do is we plot the answers that you have inputted in the research questionnaire. Then comes phase 2, which is list of diligently matched university. 22,000 programs. You cannot be married to all of these programs. So the best matching relevant programs for you are plotted into an Excel sheet, and the name of the institution, the program, the date, the deadline, what are the highlights of that program, everything is put into that Excel sheet. And even before that Excel sheet is sent across to you, The background check of those universities is done for two reasons. One is just to make sure that these are not fly-by-night universities, and second, that the degrees are internationally recognized. It's very, very important. So we do that at this stage. The third, we give you a free hand to do the shortlist of the relevant programs. You read through all the details, find out what is interesting for you, and you can say, hey, these are the 10, 15, 20 that I want to apply to. Once you share that shortlist with us, comes the most important phase, which is the document preparation. And nobody in India is doing that except us. And I say that with great pride. The reason being, we have retained with us experts who have a minimum of postdoctorate from prestigious research, German research institutions. And these are postdoctorates in different fields. So let's say you come from the field of metallurgy, then there is such international experts that are retained for you, who will be working on the actual document revamping to be sent to that university. The reason being, many times as a student, you might, or as a researchers, you might think, hey, they are asking for my resume, then they need LOR and LOM. Oh, I have all of this and I'm sending this across. But what is the quality of those documents? Definitely you may have or you may not have. But when you have it, what's the quality? That's more important, because on one seat, there are more than 100 or 200 students that are competing on each seat. That's the ratio. So what is the chances of you getting an admission? How will they know how wonderful of a person you are? So that is where our editorial team comes into picture, which understands which program you're applying to, who the prospective professors are going to be, what are their pet projects, what's their goal, and according to that, they match of what you have. And so that is structurally revamped and also aesthetically revamped. And each and every document that has to be sent is revamped. So for example, each university needs about 5 documents. And if you're applying to 10 universities, so 10 into 5 is 50 documents are custom revamped just for you. And that is the success that we have. We have 100% success rate. All the students who are registered with us definitely get through an admission. We do that also when you're applying for PhD and postdoc, because the research proposal is a very, very vital element. Based on the research proposal is where you're going to get the funding, right? And why will they give you thousands of euros of funding when your quality of documentation is not at par to anything? So that's where we come into picture. And then once that is done, we compile as per the university application. So not the clerical compilation that this document, and no, each university, because of decentralization, works on a different platform. Some work on UniSS, some work on Primus, there are so many platforms that they work on, and each require a specific things accordingly in a specific agenda, in a specific way. So that's where our experts come in and help you do this. And once all of this is done, all our students get through definitely a successful admission in Germany. Then we even help you for your visa, because the visa, the German consulate is not exactly in the city that you're living in. You are in the jurisdiction, so you have to be somewhere else. So we prepare you to tell exactly what you need to be telling, and not anything otherwise out of your innocence. So we help you with the visa as well. And last but not the least, the intercultural training, because most of you are going abroad for such a long time for the first time. So the do's and don'ts, how to interact with the faculty, how to just about everything. So we cater from A to Z. And this takes more than 6 to 8 months for each and every researcher or student, and over 1,000 emails interaction. And this is the kind of service that we provide in depth after you've decided to register with us to go ahead for your German education or research. So in a nutshell, we say that the way we help you is we transform normal personalities into world-class institutions. A mouse walking in the road, nobody will even look at it. But if you go to Disneyland, Disney is a $1 trillion industry. I mean, there is Disney caps, hats, t-shirts, underwear, straws, water bottles, everything Disney. So that's what we do. You know, rather than you going with a begging bowl, we bring you into a commanding position, and we take great pride in the quality of work that we are doing. Here is a testimonial of a gentleman who has studied in Germany. He and his wife both have studied in Germany. And let us understand from him what he has to say. Oh, can you hear him? Is he audible?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay. This gentleman, he's called the Solar Guru of India. You can Google him, Deepak Gadhia ji. He and his late wife, Shireen Gadhia ji, they had studied in Germany. And he says that he was a very average student when he was in India. What made him such a successful person is the hands-on technology that allows him to understand things in greater detail and allows him to implement that into the work arena that he's doing. Today, while we are talking, he's still in Germany right now. His first trip after the COVID restrictions and everything to Germany. But otherwise, he used to travel to 5 countries in a month. And he lives in a small ashram in the rural India, in the western part of India. So what makes him such a great personality is that the hands-on approach, which allows him to think in a detailed fashion, and he's also a social entrepreneur and a social technocrat. So he speaks about the importance of studying and doing research in Germany, how that has made him such a successful technocrat. And he is also our mentor. And he says that we are doing exactly what he's wanting to do because so many students connect to him all the time. And now I'm bringing in another testimonial of a younger person who has been a gold medalist from India. This gentleman has rejected an offer from IIT. He went and he chose IISc Bangalore, and he was then chosen for the Cambridge scholarships, where 3 lakh students apply, researchers apply, and one gets selected. He rejected Cambridge scholarships to join his mentor, PhD mentor at Purdue and Cornell University. And then he has got selected for the very, very prestigious Max Planck fellowships from Germany. Max Planck are the father of all fellowships. So let us understand from him, that he has done his research in 3 important countries of the world, India, America, Germany, and he attributes his success to Germany. So let's hear from him. Let's see if he's audible. I don't think he's audible either, but what he's trying to say is that he speaks very highly of the research institutions at Germany, and how conducive the environment was, not just to conduct the various lab experiments, but also to get published in noted research journals. So that is something that he attributes his success to. So 2 testimonials that were brought, unfortunately, generally this voice is audible, but I don't know why. Anyway, then this is a small glimpse of the many, many ECS students. So we are catering just a small glimpse because I cannot put in so much in one slide, but we are catering to people from all fields and all educational backgrounds like pharmacy, bioinformatics, safety scientists, management, car design, economics, English philology, computational engineering, and so much more. A very special mention about the student of ours, Pareen Vora. This guy, he came from a very medium academic qualifications, and he wanted to go to America. His father had taken a loan against their small apartment. but he would get admissions in a B plus or a C plus grade university, and his visa would get rejected. After it got red flagged, he came to us and he said, "Madam, I've heard so much about you. Please help me get an admission." He registered with us, and then in some months, we were able to place him in one of the prestigious institutions in Germany with one semester in Harvard. His father was on the seventh heaven, and so whatever each person's career aim or goal is, we are able to specifically strategize accordingly, and that is our niche. And on top of all of this free education, we also got him a living scholarship for about 50,000 Indian rupees per month, not 50,000, 64,500 rupees per month. So that was an additional scholarship that we got for him, and that was also really nice. So for each and every student, we take special efforts to make them the best versions of what they wish to be. Another student, Deepak Gangurde, he came to me, a very, very shy student, and he said, "Ma'am, I'm really interested in research." We got him into a German university, a very prestigious German university with a partnership with Argentina. And once he finished his master's, we have been able to place him under a Nobel laureate for his PhD education. So working under a Nobel laureate is not just great goodwill, but also monetary benefits. So today, this is really, really nice and interesting what we are able to do. And before COVID, I had enjoyed visiting the various students at various institutions. This is my interaction at KIIT in Bhubaneswar, the KIIT institution in Bhubaneswar. This is in Ahmedabad, this is in Indore, and so on and so forth. So it's really nice that I can connect to my students and researchers. This is Girls College in Chennai. Minority organizations also invite me, and so on and so forth. And a lot of institutions which are Padma Bhushan institutions, founders are Padma Bhushan, they have invited me. I've been on FICCI. FICCI is a very vital Indian industrial conglomerate. I've been advisors to various institutions. A lot of institutions do MOU with us that helps. MOU is a free thing, but it helps the students and the research community reap the benefits of that. In this COVID pandemic, it's also done online with another institution in Odisha itself, and brought in various German delegations or been felicitated, and not just at the institution level, but also the corporate level. If you all watch movies, probably Bollywood movies, Shemaru buys a lot of movie rights. So this is Mr. Maru, Raman Maru, the brain behind Shemaru, a great producer. If you drink chai, the Wak Bakri Chai, this is the CEO of Wak Bakri Chai. And this gentleman, he's the Mahesh Shetty Tutorials, who pays just the tax in 3-digit crowns. So even corporates connect to us. And because of the work that I've been doing for the last 19 years, I've been bestowed upon with the Leadership Award at CoJane. This is the mayor of San Francisco. And I'm also a social entrepreneur. So I've brought in a lot of German funding to very small rural or NGOs in rural culture. It's a desert, and it's a medical NGO. And also the Consul General has come to our Kuldevi temple at my small village. And as we come to the end of the presentation, I would like to mention 2 very important points. The first is about job opportunity. So whatever you study, after finishing your education in Germany, research or higher education, you're allowed to stay in the country for up to 18 months just to look out for a job. Once you get a job, the student visa or the research visa gets converted into a work permit, and you can even apply for a blue card, which is the PR. So just like America has green card, there is blue card for Germany. So that is possible, and permanent residency is also possible. And the kind of German corporations that are hiring Indian researchers and Indian students in a very big number is SAP, T-Mobile, Mercedes-Benz, Bosch, Adidas, Siemens, Audi, Nivea, Bajaj Allianz. I've tried to bring in each and every company and the field that they are in and the amount, the brand value that that company brings in and the kind of opportunity that they are offering. So Sparkasse, Deutsche Bank, Miele, Schwarzkopf, Metro, Puma, Lufthansa, Adidas, Rewe, Shibo, Ergo Insurance, Hermes, Ritter Sport, Aral Motor Fuels, Wagner, Bild, and so much more. And even if you know Elon Musk, he is establishing a very big factory in Berlin. So, and he wants to employ 12,000 people there. So you could be studying in Germany and you can be working for America. Everything is possible. And last but not the least, German institutions support barrier-free education, which is not just in terms of accessibility and accommodation, but also rearranging the study program and making specific study academic adjustments for the student. So, and there are hardship applications. So if you have gone through a very specific hardship and if you have the necessary certificate for that, you are also given a special consideration. Now, today we have heard an academic feast. There's so much information. Let us capture it in a slide that Germany is very accessible, yet untapped avenue. Germany is, of course, famous for engineering, but also has various options for arts, commerce, and science graduates. English is the medium of instruction. There is opportunity to work with experts in various breakthrough areas. It's free to affordable tuition fees for most courses. Internship, part-time job opportunities are available. If you're not an international threat, visa is possible. Employment opportunities within the European Union by itself. So that's a great advantage. And last but not the least, that it's a welcoming and accepting country for Indian students. And the way ECS will help you is ECS will carve a niche for you by steering through the myriad of various possibilities to help realize your career goals. We'll help you select the best institution based on your academic background, academic qualifications, and career aspirations. Be prepared to embark you on a journey that's satisfying and rewarding, and of course, guide you through the various non-traditional study options for you. And as a mentor, I can say that I can see more talent and ability and potential in you than you see in yourself. So if you have questions, you're more than welcome to write into us at queries@exponentconsultants.com. I repeat, queries@exponentconsultants.com. Do not write a hi and leave it, or I want to study in Germany and leave it then and there. You all are educated people. Make sure when you send us an email, you have attached your academic resume so that we can do a professional evaluation of your resume, and mention your specific questions. If you mention your specific questions, we can open up a personal counseling session for you. And here on this platform, I announce that the fees for the personal counseling session is also waived off. So it's free for you. So make sure when you write us an email, you are sending your academic resume, but at the same time, you are mentioning your questions so that we can have a personal counseling session. The charges for that session are waived off. I hope this webinar was useful. And yes, whenever you have written to us, there is an entire team ECS. They're very prompt, all international experts, and they will reply to you promptly in 1 working day. So if you have written an email, you will get a reply within the first 24 hours itself. And if you think you've not got a reply, check your spam folder. It'll be sitting there. All right. So I hope this webinar was useful. And well, the platform is open for further question and answer session.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful presentation, study in abroad. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Nupur Patnaik for a quick remark on Nobel's talk. Over to Dr. Nupur.
Yeah, Thank you so much, Dr. Rudra. So, first of all, very good morning to Niketa ma'am, and good evening to the entire Indian audience over here. So, ma'am, thank you so much for giving us this global exposure of Germany. Like we sitting over here, we came to know because we have a lot of students here from social sciences who are preparing for different courses for like public policy maybe, or as you have said, ma'am, about industrial management and many other uh, subjects and disciplines. I think, ma'am, it was really a great motivation in learning. Like many students might have been motivated because Germany, I usually what happens, we don't think about Germany, to go to Germany all the way and to study over there. It's a very difficult task. But I think that, ma'am, the way you have encouraged all of us over here through your like educational system in Germany, the job structure, and how scholarships people could get into, and how could and you have also said very essential facts about getting a job, like networking, and how do we get into this particular thing through visa, how to make all these things, and how everything could be possible in certain way. And ma'am, also you have also elaborated about the Indo-German strata and how could we make up that particular thing. So I think, ma'am, it was really encouraging for all of us over here, because there are many students over here, and it's going live for the students also. So I think it's a very encouraging lecture. And I think, ma'am, we all have got a lot of things to learn from the Germany diaspora, the thing that is over there we have come across, and we are learning a lot from today's lecture. So thank you so much, ma'am, and have a good day.
Thank you, Dr. Nupur. Now, I would like to invite the Director of Center for ADIVASI Research and Development, Dr. Vikram Kesari Jena, to go for a quick remarks on ma'am's talk. Over to Dr. Jena.
I think not. It's not audible.
Dr. Jena, please unmute. Okay, Dr. Jena is messaging for continuing with the question and answer session. So, ma'am, the first question is.
I would request everybody to open their cameras, and you can see me, but I also need to see you. So open your cameras, introduce yourself, and put up your question. So that would be really nice, because everybody's a mature adult who is sitting here.
Mr. Umar Sheikh, please ask your question directly to Niketa ma'am. Are you in the meeting, Mr. Umar Sheikh? I thought he's not in the meeting. Ma'am, his question is, as the education in Germany is making students to innovate and think rather than education in India for job, do you think we can bring reforms in the Indian education system, which would be there for innovation and thinking, not for getting jobs?
That's right, yes.
Hello, Bimal Prasad ji, you have to be asked your question directly to ma'am. Please unmute, sir. Yes.
No, please read out my remark, please.
Please ask your question directly to ma'am.
No, I am hearing everything. Nothing to question now. Thank you.
Okay.
So it's a good question. And basically, he's talking about education connection to the job of what I read from the chat. And it's a very nice question, in fact, and very important. The way things work at the university is that whatever you're studying, whether it's at master's or at PhD or even at postdoc, has to have some productive output through job. Either the job could be in the industry or in the academia or the research sector. And there has to be a spot available. And that's the very good thing that I like about the German university system, is that only when jobs are available will they go ahead and create study programs or research programs. To give you an example, for example, like data sciences, okay? In India, suddenly every institution starts having data science as a subject. So there are 10,000 jobs available, but 2 lakh data scientists who have come out of studying. What will the other 1,90,000 do? Nothing. But it's the other way around in Germany. They will make an analysis of what are the open positions allowed by the industry, and accordingly they will open up the study positions. And I think that's a very, very beautiful thing to do. To ensure that the demand and supply is matching correctly. So a good question benefiting many.
Thank you, ma'am. Another question is asked by Dr. Pramod Ranjan. He's asking that is there any changes occurred in research methodology after the reunion of American and Communist Germany after the destruction of Berlin Wall?
He needs to elaborate what he mentions by that.
Hello, madam.
Yeah.
Hello, madam. Myself, Pramod speaking. Hello, madam.
Yeah.
Sir, please ask.
Madam, I am asking that after the reunification of Communist Germany and the Democratic Germany, whether any change in the research methodology of different subjects? I feel that it is a union of negative and positive. Am I right, sir? Right, madam?
So I have been in this field for 19, 20 years now, and I've met many top decision makers, including the Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel herself, and hosted various Nobel laureate or STEM communities and at PIFR, which is fundamental research and things like that. What I understand is that it's always gearing towards more and more adaptability in the practical world. That is what the changes would be. So if you look at it, it's all geared towards positive changes and not redundant changes. To make sure it stays relevant and the industry is able to adapt that. Because there is also a lot of academia and industry connections. So whatever research comes out, the industry makes sure that they are in tandem with that, or there are live projects that come from the industry to the research centers. So the changes are there and they are positive.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Pramod Ranjan Pandaji, for your question. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Jena.
Can you hear? Can you hear?
Yes, yes.
1 minute. 1 minute. Thank you so much, madam. Wonderful
Dr.
delivery.
Jena, your voice is echoed.
How to do a, yeah.
Your voice is making echo.
Hello.
Whether another
Can you hear me
devices
now?
are- Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Yes. Thank you so much, madam, for wonderful delivery how to do in terms of higher education and go for any other degree in terms of social science and all these engineering, management, and multidisciplinary approach. My question is slightly different from your presentation, what you did last 1.2 hours. Madam, what is your suggestions to the government of India, in particular higher education department? Why not even 75 years of independent, we have that much global repute institution that not included in 500 QS ranking. The time is announced every year. And why not we should think seriously about 140 crores of population still waiting for go to abroad for higher studies. Why not abroad should come to India for higher studies here when we have this great institution called Nalanda, Takshashila and Vikramshila, one pioneering institutions perhaps in the model of ancient in terms of the knowledge hub that is called Patliputra, when the kingship of flagship and signature mark of King Harshavardhan. I am talking about you just 1600 years ago. But what happened with us in terms of these hijack ideas and the notion called Eurocentric and the notion called Americanization? And you rightly mentioned about very interestingly Sundar Pichai and Alan Moss. Tell me, how many people have a great ideas about the higher education is very next required for everybody when our 35% people are living in a very ignoring side, they don't want to get sufficient food to eat. What is your suggestion? This is my first, then I will come to with installments of regular question to you. Thank you, madam.
It was a very long question, but a very important one. And of what I understand, I think you want to know as to about the higher education outreach, the Indian higher education outreach, and the West coming here, right? So of what I understand, that the language Sanskrit is taught more at German universities than it is taught at Indian institutions. And I think that's a very big thing, because Sanskrit is what it's our dharohar, the Indian cultural heritage, not just a language, and that has been preserved and even multiplied more abroad. A. B. There are a lot of collaborations that happen. To give you an example, even IITs that were started in India, the IIT Madras is started by German funding. IIT Bombay started by Russian funding, and so on. So there are a lot of mutually beneficial collaborations that are happening. As far as ignorance about a lot of people goes, you see how many people like me are willing to give or share transparent and honest information or 360-degree information. Nowhere in my webinar did you see that I was only promoting one university or two universities. Whereas so this is something called 360-degree information, very honest and transparent. How many people are doing that and how many people have attended? So even though this webinar was conducted, there were not more than 50 people who attended today's webinar. I mean, it was, I get so many messages that it was very good and it was very nice. So how many people are really interested in their own growth and in their own progress, right? So there are a lot of things that are good, but how many people are interested in their own progress is also a question mark, right?
Thank you so much, madam. And I want to know from you, what is your response to particular the poverty section or weaker section of the society student? How could they get proper higher education in terms of UK and abroad? You rightly mentioned about Germany per se. And what is your ideas in terms of the job market or the world market? You know, India is very popularly known as the labor market supplier. The market always wanted to create the labor from us. And this is the time when we relook about your presentation. You rightly mentioned about the job market profile as concerns. We don't want to do signature mark about the labor society as concerned. We need to grow up and we think seriously about the global market, what the market is rightly mentioned to do. You rightly mentioned about Elon Musk. What is his qualifications? How many good degrees he has in terms of knowledge creation or knowledge mobility? But when Elon Musk is becoming the one of the finest, richest person of the globe, then what is your suggestions to do the right path of global market is concerned?
I think the first step is to up one's knowledge through whatever means, mode, and medium. And so a lot of people ask me that I'm here based in America, but I do not speak much about America. And I speak about Germany. And the very fact that I speak about Germany and not so much about America is because America is so expensive. I'm also a host family here for Indian students that come to America, but it's after putting in so much money, what is the outcome? So Germany is one such country which is having or offering free to affordable education. How much of that is available in India in terms of quality education? So that's the reason that's promoted, because it is focused on talent and skill. It doesn't matter whether that person is from tribal background or any kind of background, he or she is respected. And there are also hardship applications that German universities accept. And secondly, it is even the visa. Germany is the only country in the world which is not asking how much land or how much gold the family has. They only want to ensure that the student is able to support himself or herself in Germany, which is very, very nominal. And once they are there, the focus is on education. All of these courses that I've mentioned, they are all about 50, 60,000 euro courses, but they are given with 100% scholarship for students. That's a very big thing. I mean, and that's also the results you can see, that there are 100 plus Nobel laureates from Germany. How many Nobel laureates are there from India with all the subsidy and everything that's happening? So one has to understand that whatever one does, if the student wants to do best for the Indian society and the Indian community, it's a great advantage to capitalize on the free and affordable education and come back to India with more knowledge and expertise of doing things, and bring back all that expertise to India and for the Indian community and the Indian society. And there are more than 7,500 German companies in India which have a very strong base in India. And they would really love to have such students to grow their business here in India. So it's not that you study there, but you also work there. You're not bonded by any labor or anything like that. It's really good and also appreciated if you can just take the knowledge from there and come back here and be really helpful to your motherland, India, and let the country boom with your special USP and expertise in whatever field that student or researchers wishes to study.
Thank you, madam. And I will stop here by asking the last question to you. Tell me about the PhD and postdoctors. How many universities in Germany, like 1 to 10, you recommend for the Indian students to go to abroad for higher studies?
For PhD?
Yeah, PhD and postdoc.
I did mention about PhD and postdoctorate in my presentation, right? That there are different ways in which you can do a PhD. And most of the traditional universities are where you can do a PhD. The applied sciences, the institutions which are applied sciences, it is more practical oriented, so they do not support a PhD. But the traditional universities do support a PhD. So all of these options are really great. And PhD, it's possible, postdoc is possible, and various lucrative ways to do PhD and postdoc at such institutions.
Yeah. No, madam, I would like to know from you the best universities from 1 to 10 from the German side.
All are the best because they
Yeah.
all specialize in different fields. I mean, somebody could be very good at biology, the other could be really good at English literature, the third could be very good at economics. So they're all good in their own super specialized areas.
Thank you so much, madam, for wonderful answers. Rudra, please go for the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zena, for a very serious and beautiful conversation, question answer with Madam Niketa. Thank you, ma'am, for joining with us far away from United States. And we're talking about so many important things about abroad education and higher studies and several kind of issues that we faced in the market and economic prosperity. And you have to be taken very seriously, and your consultancy is doing very well to promoting Indian student in abroad and promoting cultural base Indian culture and Indian traditions in abroad. And definitely you are talking about the poor students, how your consultancy is deal with poor students. Thank you so much for joining Center for Adivasi Research and Development's forum of intellectual gathering. We're thanking you from core of our hearts. I would like to thank the coordinating institutions, Indian Institute of Management, Sambalpur, for their help and cooperation. I would like to thank Central University of Odisha for their cooperation, the Director of IIM Sambalpur, Professor Mahadev Jaiswal, and the acting Vice Chancellor of the Central University of Odisha, Professor Sarath Kumar Palitaji, and our conveners, Professor Chandi Prasad Nanda and Sri Charudat Panigrahiji, and our team, Dr. Shubham Das, Dr. Samuel Lima, Dr. Kamal Prasad Mahanti, Dr. Ghanshyam Giri, and Dr. Nupur Patnaik, and our beloved audiences over the social media platform, Facebook and YouTube, and the audiences over here in Zoom. Thank you all for joining us. And I would like to thank the man behind this intellectual gathering, Professor Dr. Vikram Kesari Jana, the Director of CARD, for their wonderful effort to unifying the world's finest brains who can actually doing something for the society, to gathering them in a single platform and interacting with Indian academia. Thank you so much, Dr. Jena. And last, thank you, ma'am, Niketa, for joining us and sharing your thoughts with us. Thank you. The meeting is complete.
Thank you very much for wonderfully organizing it.
Thank you, ma'am. Namaste, ma'am.
Bye-bye. Good evening.
Bye.